Hello, 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 and welcome. My name is Sabrina Victoria, and I am here with Hallie Avolio, and we're going to be talking all about tapping into your limitless potential. So get comfortable as we explore. We're going to be exploring the challenges, right? The triumphs faced by women worldwide. We're going to be offering insight and inspiration to fuel your personal and your professional growth. Let's jump right in.
Get ready, because today's guest is about to change the way you view your world. This is Her Talk Show, hosted by Sabrina Victoria.
I see you jumping on live. I love this. If you're listening on the replay, make sure you hashtag replay wherever you're watching us at so we can get you some love in the comments. We are here every day delving deep into the realms of health, wealth, and leadership with some of the most brilliant women globally. We have interviewed over 600 women, and today we are adding another one to the list. Miss Hallie Avolio activates your limitless potential by shifting your mindset, opening up your intuition, and taking action on your dreams. It's time to get unstuck, find self-love, and manifest your best life. She is the founder and president of Sassy Healthy Fit. I said it right this time. An organization created with the mission to teach as many humans as possible to love themselves unconditionally and create a fuck yes life. I love that, girl.
Me too. I'm here for it. Let's do this thing.
Yes, I love that. Well, I'm so excited about this. You know, when I hear the word limitless, I don't know if you saw the movie Limitless, but like that word to me is just so powerful. When you're saying limitless potential, what does that mean?
So I have a mentor, a woman that I really admire, and she's fantastic. And I've done a lot of trainings with her. And one definition that she offers, which really resonates with me, is she says, limitless is to know that not even the sky is the limit. So just sit with that for a moment. And I've pondered this over the years many times. And the word limitless has come to me in so many iterations. And for me, it's this energy of curiosity, of unknowingness, and excitement in the unknown. If you follow Joe Dispenza, I'm a fan of Dr. Joe. And one of the things that has resonated with me through his teachings is he talks about this idea of really tapping into, what it is that you desire ahead of the event, feeling into your dreams, feeling into the types of relationships you want to have, feeling into your possibility, your potential ahead of it actually materializing in your world. And to me, that is really what it means to be limitless. It's like the knowing beyond having to feel it and having to have the evidence, but it's the trust, it's the confidence, it's the curiosity, it's the expansion, and it's reminding yourself, because I do think that we need reminders, that I am in exactly the right place at the right time, and it's all possible. I may need to figure it out. I may have some learning to do. I may have to fall on my face and dust myself off pretty hardcore, but it's all possible. And I'm here for that.
I love what you're saying here. To set your intention ahead of time when you are going into something that you desire. What would be an example of that?
So let's look at, and I know especially in this space, we have a lot of entrepreneurs, a lot of women in business, which is so awesome because I love seeing women changing the world in that way. If you have a passion, an idea, a skill that you can offer to this world, and you say, I'm going to turn that into a business, from the very beginning, right? You have to figure out how to take that and make it your own, how to put it out into the world, how to sell it, how to market it, how to reach your ideal audience, whether it's a product, whether it's a service, whatever the thing may be. So you have to have a vision, right? You could have a service, a physical product, and just say, well, I'm just going to go out there and see how it goes. And you're only going to get so far. But when you sit with it and you start to dream and give yourself space for that vision and feel into, what does that look like when I'm actually the most kick-ass known person for this particular product, service, event, experience, etc. And I know that that's who I am and that's what I'm here for. You show up with a completely different energy that first time you introduce yourself to somebody. And whether or not you've made any sales and done any work in your business, you come into it knowing that you're building something bigger than what it is right in this moment. Because you feel it, you see it, you know it, you own it in your being. And so it's a lot of embodiment. You know, you can look at it or think of it alongside visualization. And that's a piece of it for sure. But setting the intention is, it's not just, I have a desire and I'm going to kind of hope that it works. I'm going to kind of throw the noodle on the wall or the spaghetti on the wall or whatever the expression is and hope that it sticks. It's, I know in my core that this is happening. Now, my job is to align with that, to become the match for it. My job is to figure out the nuance so that I can move from where I am today into where I desire to go.
That's awesome. You said the word embodiment. What is the difference between embodiment and fake it till you make it?
Oh, I love that question. I love that question. You know, people get a lot of, you know, they get a lot of slack. Gosh, my words are escaping me today, but for the fake it till you make it. And I think there's something to be said for it, right? It's like, you got to kind of try it on. So sometimes this idea of fake it till you make it, it's experimenting. That's how I see it. It's like, if I am learning a new skill and I don't currently know it, but I want to go after it with giving myself the best shot at really learning how to become a master, then trying it on in the energy of that is kind of faking it till you make it. But embodiment, it's not the conscious place of, I don't yet know how to do the thing, so I'm kind of trying it on, pretending, experimenting. It's, I feel it in my bones that this is the truth of the matter. This is who I am. This is what I'm about. So I believe that, you know, kind of that fake it till you make it will really be the great place to get you started. That might be how you move into this idea of limitless potential. But the embodiment is when you get to the place where you just know it deep in your bones that this is who I am.
I love that. Absolutely. When you think about your own story, when you think about your own life, when did you really start to step into your fuck yes life?
About an hour ago.
Yes, girl.
No, I'm kidding. You know, it's so fun because I just look at the evolution of my business. And professionally, I started out in sales in the corporate world. And I told this story the other day on my Instagram Live. I, you know, graduated college with this really solid vision, this idea that I was going to be a CEO of a big corporation. I was going to be the queen bee sitting in the corner office. I told this to everybody, by the way. I said, I'm going to be a CEO. I didn't even know what that meant. I didn't know what the tasks, the responsibilities, I had no understanding of what that job was, but I knew it meant that I could be in charge. And being a Leo, being a leader my whole life, being somebody that, you know, has been bossy, have been called bossy many a time, that felt like where I needed to go. So I definitely did the fake it till you make it until I embodied it and got, you know, worked my way up in the management track and was on the path to, you know, that CEO role. But the thing is, I wasn't really super happy. And so I thought that was what I wanted. And I really did learn a lot of skills and I did embody it, but it turned out that it wasn't completely in alignment. So I had a lot of distress in my body and like physical symptoms. And it felt like a lot of angst, a lot of turmoil inside. And the next kind of season of my life was this season when I was beginning to be a mom. And I have 3 amazing children. I'm obsessed with them. I love them to pieces, of course. Maybe all moms say that, hopefully. And when, I'd always known, again, from as long as I can remember, I always knew that I wanted to be a mom and have kids. And from the time I began that journey of, getting pregnant with my first child and, up until my third child was born and, raising them and having babies and toddlers and going through all those very early developmental stages, again, I knew in my heart of hearts and my soul that this is what I'm meant to do. Like, I'm meant to be the mom to these 3 beautiful humans. Yet also I felt this like discontent within me. So I'm like, what's going on? I wasn't quite right. I wasn't quite on the money with my CEO aspirations. I love being a mom more than anything, but there's still something kind of amiss. And it took me a while from that point, because then I kind of got into this shame spiral where I was like, what have I done with my life? Where did I miss the mark? I had so much potential. I had so much opportunity. Have I missed it? Have I thrown it away? Have I really just messed everything up? And, it would have been really great if I could just tell you at that point, like, that's Sabrina, that's when I figured out, fuck yes, life, let's do this. Unfortunately, that's not how the story goes. Went down a much darker hole. That shame spiral took me into a place of escapism and distraction and feeling really discontent in my life. I definitely put on the hat of victim and lived in a really strong victim mentality and pointed fingers at anyone and anything that I could, because I wasn't strong enough. I didn't have the courage to take responsibility for the choices I had made and why I was feeling the way I was feeling. And also to let myself off the hook a little bit, I didn't have the tools at the time to work through it in a more mature way. And so, after spending some time going down that more self-destructive path, and I really got to a very low place mentally, emotionally, physically, I got to this moment where something inside me just said, you're meant for more. And, as I kind of recall it now from this place, it feels like it was maybe a voice, but it didn't feel like that in the moment. It just felt like this tiny bit of knowing, like a tiny flickering candle.
Totally.
That said, there's something else. You got to figure this out. Just like you figured out everything else in your life, you got to figure this one out too. Yeah. And it was like, I had to be scrappy and I had to like claw my way out of the hole, literally piece by piece by piece. And the cool thing was that as I started to do that, I started to uncover all these parts of myself that I didn't even know existed before. I started to uncover all these parts of just humanity in your mindset, in your psychology, in, how you show up in your life. And this idea of building your fuck yes life, it really started to come together. And it was, the coolest part was that I would start to, as I started to heal myself, I started to make these changes. People that I knew from the past, 10, 20 years, they said, what are you doing different, Hallie? Something's up. They could just tell. And at first I didn't even know how to credit it. It's like, oh, well, I'm just like reading some books. I'm doing this like workout program and, I'm just taking care of myself a little bit more. But the thing I didn't really like put 2 and 2 together initially was that there were a lot of people craving that sort of help and support. And they also didn't know how to claw their way out of their own hole, whatever hole that they were in. And so when they saw me doing it, it was inspiring. Yeah. And it helped, create this opportunity for them to say, maybe I can do something like that for myself. And that to me was really the beginning of, building this community that I've built, this business that I built, where I'm unleashing and unpacking this process of what does it look like to say, I'm here for me, not in a selfish way, not in an egocentric way, but I'm here to do this work for me, because when I do it for me and I live my fuck yes life, meaning that I'm in alignment with my core values, meaning that I'm mindful of my surrounding and what makes sense for me, meaning that I'm tuning in to that inner wisdom, that inner voice that we call intuition, that when I do that, I show up more powerfully, not only for myself, but in my relationships with others, in my relationships with how I relate professionally, in money, in time. And it makes, this beautiful ripple effect that has an impact on everybody I touch and the people that they touch, therefore the world. So when did I start to live my fuck yes life? I guess it kind of started that moment when I maybe heard that voice that said, you're meant for something more.
Hmm.
And it's a continuous process of evolution. It's constant growth. It's every day just being the truest version of myself, whatever that is. And that doesn't have to be the most like positive, introspective human. It just means being with the truth of who I am in the moment and allowing for that. And to me, that's how the Fuck Yes life really takes shape. And so it's not so much a moment as it is an evolution.
Hmm. I totally get that. I love the idea of constant growth. I think so many times people think they just have to read one book or do one program and then that's it. They're cured. And
Right?
it really is constant. You know, there's things that are constantly popping up, new new ways of thinking, traumas from our past that
Yep.
come to a head just suddenly out of nowhere. First of all, Leo, when's your birthday?
July 24th. I got 2 weeks, baby.
I love that. I'm August 7th, also a Leo.
Oh, I knew we had a good connection there.
Yeah.
Leo vibes, baby.
Yeah. So I really kind of connect to what you're saying as far as, you know, kind of knowing that Leo, like that fire, that light inside of you, just knowing that you're meant for something way bigger
Yeah.
than where you're possibly at the moment. When you talk about the victim mentality, I'd love to kind of hover in that for a moment, because I think so many times we don't know we're in a victim mentality until we're on the other side, or we're starting to move towards the other side. We have a ton of people watching live right now, and I would love for you to kind of just explain, like, what does that mean? What does being in a victim mentality mean? So that those of us that are maybe listening live right now can maybe see that in their life and maybe start to make some pivots for themselves, because a lot of times they don't know.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. And to your point, if you are so entrenched in an identity of I am a victim, and I'm not talking about like a victim of a trauma. That's not what I'm talking about, but I'm talking about that kind of more, you know, woe is me, life sucks, everybody's out to get me, right? That kind of mentality. If you're wearing that identity, and if you're really embodying that and you believe that it's true, like I was, you will not hear anything that I'm about to say. So just know that, and that's okay. But I have a feeling of all the people watching this live replay, which I know there's hundreds, which is amazing, this community you've built. The people here are probably not quite that deep in it. They're somewhere on the periphery, or maybe they can recognize it in the past. But it's so important for us to heighten our self-awareness, because our self-awareness is really the key to all of it. It unlocks the key to everything that you have potential for in your life, opportunity you have in your life, healing you need to do in your life, through your self-awareness. And when you are in that kind of victim mentality, you are almost unable to take responsibility, to see things through the lens of self-awareness. You can't separate yourself from what you are experiencing. And I don't know if you've done any work around internal family systems therapy. And I'm not a therapist, so I always like to clarify that. But this is some work that I've done as a receiving work that with a coach that I worked with. And the general premise of this work is that we're all made up of different parts, and different parts come out of ourselves at different times, depending on the situation, depending on what our needs are, etc. And one of the things that resonates with me in this work in IFS, or internal family systems therapy, is when you are deeply in that role of victim, when that's like your primary kind of character, if you will, that you're wearing, that identity will take over, because that identity wants more. So it's going to attract other people, situations, opportunities that feed into its need to be the victim. The validation is the number one motivator for that person. And that's exactly how I felt. Like, I needed people to validate that in fact, I was a victim.
Yeah.
Like I said, this isn't a victim of a trauma. This is a victim of circumstance. And once I finally got into a place where I was kind of like shaken out of it, and I had the self-awareness to say, okay, look, let's be real. Some shitty things have happened. But I'm here. I'm figuring it out. I'm clawing my way up out of the hole, right? I have the agency, the opportunity. I have the tools. I'm learning the skills. I can do something about this. It wasn't until that like inkling of a thought came into my mind that I was able to start to detach myself from really being so entrenched in that victim mentality identity.
Yeah, I totally get that. My whole identity was wrapped up on other people's validation of my story. Totally.
Right.
Of the whole like, woe is me. And it was always like, whoa, Sabrina. Oh my gosh, Sabrina, what? Wow. And that was my whole identity. And when I left that, there was a point in my story where I knew that there was something bigger and better, and I had to take a leap. I always mention, like, say it's almost like jumping from a cliff, from cliff to cliff. And I had to like trust in my own ability to like create power and confidence in a whole nother story.
Mm-hmm.
And it was really scary to leave one side, because I'm like, damn, what if like I don't ever become anything? Then I don't have my story and I don't have the thing. Then who am I? Like, who am I? I'm not a victim. It's like, it was really, it was really a huge turning point for me.
It is huge. And, you know, just kudos to you for even, again, having the self-awareness, but also taking the leap, because it is to detach from that victim mindset. That victim mindset, first of all, it's real strong.
Yeah.
It's got a real strong personality. And also it feels really safe.
Yeah.
But that's where it's like, you know, the wolf in sheep's clothing. It's not in fact safe, but your brain will make you think that it's safe to be in that receiving of that. Oh, you poor thing. I can't believe that happened to you. That's terrible. That's awful. And we begin to believe that for our truth. And it feels good. And to detach from that feels like, oh my God, I'm naked. This is scary as fuck. Like, what is happening? Right. And that feels really uncomfortable. So it takes a lot of courage. That leap is not just like the courage to do it, but it's like, I'm starting over. But the cool thing is, and if you leap, and let's say you know you kind of falter somewhere in the middle, and you have to take like, you know, I'm picturing like a you know, an action movie or something, and they have to like do a couple leaps, or they've got one of those really long like sticks that, you know, of course nobody could ever actually make these leaps across like canyons or whatever. But it's like, if it takes you a couple iterations to get yourself from like this place to this place, you're learning and growing along the way, and you're dissolving that identity that's been holding you back from truly actualizing who you are.
Yeah, definitely. Good stuff. When you talk about activating a framework for individuals to step into their fuck yes life, what does that framework look like? Is that super complicated?
No. I mean, have you read the book, The Compound Effect?
Oh my gosh. A long time ago.
It's an oldie but a goodie. I highly recommend, by the way, for anybody. It's a very short read. It's by Darren Hardy, who is the founder of Success Magazine. And I'm going to sum up your question in his like signature line, which is small actions over time equal radical results. And I read this book at the beginning of this fuck yes life journey for myself. And that really just hit me in deep inside. Like, wait a second, this is not a quick fix. This is not, like you said before, Sabrina, you know, reading one book or taking one program and boom, it's done. We're good to go. Yeah. To me, activation is this idea of small, consistent actions over time equaling radical results. So activation looks like, first of all, you got to get aligned with whatever it is that you want. What do you want? And sometimes you don't know. So sometimes the thing that you have to get aligned with is figuring out, what do I want? whether it's in your life, in your business, in your money, in your relationships, in your sex, in your whatever. What do I want? You got to at least play around with it, experiment. Don't feel so attached to a specific thing, but like start to put it out there for yourself. What do I want? And then how do I move the needle a teeny tiny bit every day to get there? So I'm going to give you an example. And this is like super fresh and super recent. So a few weeks ago, I like to walk in my neighborhood. And I'm really lucky because my husband recently sold his business and we get a lot more time together, which is super fun. So we get to take walks in our neighborhood very frequently. And a few weeks ago, we go on a walk and I just said, I'm like, I've just been feeling like just kind of discontent. Like just something just doesn't feel quite right. And I can't really put my finger on what it is because on the surface, like everything is really fantastic in my life, but something just like feels kind of off. So we talked, we're brainstorming. And then I said, you know what it is? I feel like I haven't been challenging myself mentally. Like I need to be learning more. And I'm always, kind of reading like personal development books and, listening to podcasts and all these things, but kind of in the same context. So nothing was really like pushing me in a new way. So I didn't feel super challenged in that way, mentally and emotionally. I was like, I think I need to like learn a new skill. I need to learn something. I'm missing that piece of my life right now is just kind of not there. And I thought about it and I thought, I've been really curious about learning how to crochet, but I'm not really a crafty. I think of myself as a very crafty person. And in the past, when I've tried craft projects, it's been kind of a disaster. Like whatever's on Pinterest, it never looks the same when I do it. So I was like, can I do this? And there's this really great product called Woobles, which is intended for people to learn how to begin to craft, to do crochet with the little animals. They're called amigurumi. And I'm like, I'm going to try it. Like that feels like the thing that I need to learn right now, like something completely different, but it'll stretch me in a new way. So I picked up a kit and it was a little narwhal and it was like a rainbow yarn. And there's these really great videos and I figure out how to do it. It's like a little bit tricky to get the motions with your hands. And I'm watching the videos, I'm doing the thing. And every step of the way, I'm like, oh my gosh, this is so cool. I'm making this little narwhal and I'm feeling more invigorated and more excited. And I'm noticing that as I'm learning this new skill, all these other things in my life are falling even more into place. I'm feeling really confident in my business. I'm starting some new programs. I'm feeling really confident in my parenting. I'm having some really great conversations with my kids. I'm feeling really aligned with like my body and my physical being, which that's a dance for me. So all these things are kind of falling into place. And I'm just noticing that and becoming aware of it. I'm like, this is really fucking cool. So I learned a new skill. I'm still doing it. It's super fun. I'm just having a ball, having fun with the crocheting. And I don't know where it's going to go. It could go nowhere. It could just be little gifts or just cute little animals show up all over my house. But meanwhile, it's expanding me in all these ways. So the activation is just like taking this one step and doing this tiny little thing every day and noticing how it's helping me expand and create these radical results. So when I talk about activation, it's something small. It's not something major. It's going to be different for every person. But the thing that I find when working with my clients and the biggest transformation that they make is they go from kind of living a life where they're like, I don't know, I think I want this thing. I think I want to manifest. I think I want this love. I think I want this business, blah, blah, blah. But they're not doing a damn thing about it. We have to take action. If you're not taking action, if you're not creating momentum, if you're not building, you're stagnating.
Yeah.
And that's not fuck yes.
Yeah. Totally agree with that. We have a ton of people watching live. If you're watching on the replay, make sure you drop in and hashtag replay so we know that you're watching. We'd love to drop in and say hello to you. But I want to ask Hallie, as we start to wrap up here, obviously we're getting a really good idea of who you are, what you do. But I'd love for you to talk a little bit about who exactly you help. Who should be reaching out to you?
Thank you for asking. My ideal client is the woman who is, I would say, around between like 40 and 65. And here's where she's at in her life. She is at a place right now where she has had a lot of success in her life in some way, shape, or form that she can reflect on from her past. Maybe raising a family, maybe in her career, maybe in her marriage. And she also knows that she has a lot of life to live and she's pretty positive and hopeful and excited that there's a lot out there for her. But she's in this place in the middle where she's just feeling kind of like, I don't know what I'm doing. I feel stuck. I don't know what my identity is right now. I'm not the woman that I was in my 20s and my 30s, my 40s. I'm not yet the woman that I'm going to be in my 70s, my 80s. I know I got something good going here, but I don't know who she is and how to activate her. And that's the woman that I'm working with. A lot of my clients are, they've come to me post-divorce. They've come to me like in a career transition. So a lot of times they come to me when there's a pretty significant transition in their life and they're navigating how to really own the identity of who they are now so that they can fully, fully, fully embody and step into living this fuck yes life for the continuation of their life.
Ooh, I get that. That sounds wonderful. For anyone who wants to reach out, where can they find you? Websites?
Certainly, you can go to my website, and also I'm on Instagram all the time. So if you go to my Instagram handle, which is at Sassy Healthy Fit, you can find me there. You can DM me. You can also go to my website. And, I take a lot of pride in connecting with my audience and with my community. So if you send me a DM, I will absolutely respond to you. It will be me. It will not be a bot or somebody else. It will be me. And I love that. So reach out and say, hey, I saw you on her talk show and let's have a conversation.
That's awesome. Well, I thank you so much for being here. This has been fabulous. For those of you listening live or on the replay, Hallie's website is Sassy Healthy Fit, sassyhealthy.fit. It is in a clickable link in the description wherever you are watching us at. So feel free to scroll down and click on that. And she predominantly hangs out on Instagram at, is it Sassy Healthy Fit?
Fit. Yep, you got it.
Like all one?
All one word, at Sassy Healthy Fit.
Good for you.
Keep it simple.
Yes, good for you. That's great. Well, I thank you so much for being here. Closing thoughts as we start to wrap up.
I feel really elevated by this conversation, Sabrina. And I want to, first of all, thank you for hosting and for inviting me to be here. I want to leave everybody with this mantra, because wherever you are right now, you need to make peace with that. You need to make peace with where you're at right now. But I want to leave you with this mantra, and it's something I say to myself many times throughout the day. And it's calming and it's invigorating and it's inviting. And that mantra is, I am in exactly the right place at the right time, doing the right things. And when you trust that for yourself, then you are much more open to tuning in, checking in with your body, checking in with your thoughts and your mind, taking the action that you need to take, and being curious about those limitless possibilities we talked about from the beginning. So I am in exactly the right place at the right time, doing the right things. Try that on, and I can't wait to hear from you. So thank you for having me.
Yes, that is fabulous. Thank you so much, Hallie, for being here. This has been another incredible episode. Thank you for sharing your wisdom. Thank you for inspiring us all. To our dedicated listeners who are still with us till the very end, we love it. Remember to follow, like, and share. Once again, I am your host, Sabrina Victoria, and I invite you to join our amazing community, Her Nation, where we continue to uplift each other every step of the way by having conversations just like